Hey everybody, I'm the Picklesworth. Welcome back to Decidedly Vanilla. Down here underneath the base, and things are looking very different, aren't they? Yes, they are. We have got ourselves a little bit of a path. A little bit of a design. A little bit of an unloaded chunk over there is what that is. But yeah, look, okay, there we go. I was going to say, it takes just a second to kind of get your momentum going, but once you get going, man, we can zoom through this base with the greatest of ease. Although there is no flying trapeze. That's for sure. But yeah, look at this. So I've got the inner circle all the way done, fully done with ice, and I've got some of these branches started. Not all of them, but we've got some going. The circle ends right here as far as being complete. It continues on that way, but I think I've gotten it where we can do the outer circle as well, and I love this. It's like I've said in a previous episode, even though we're not necessarily going to use boats every time on this, because boats, you'd be running into walls, just the fact that you've got this to run really, really helps. So we'll have ender pearls that we can throw. We've got the, I missed a spot. Oh, man. But yeah, now that we've seen this, let's go ahead and head over to the to the ice factory so that we can get going with today's project, because I have finally worked out the circuitry, how I want it to work. I've tested it. It actually works. And I'm actually really, really proud of this, because I feel like I've kind of moved forward in my technology. Now I'll explain what I mean by that. Where did you come from? How is that? How did you spawn there? We may have to reevaluate that. The last thing we want is for skeletons and creepers to be able to spawn here. I thought they couldn't spawn where there's plants. Okay. Well, that completely threw me for a loop and ruined my flow for my talking and everything. So anyway, a couple of years ago, I had created an ice farm, and there's actually I never made a tutorial for it because the thing was just so complicated that there was really, really no point in trying to make a tutorial for it. I'd tried several times, and it just wasn't going to work. The thing was really, really non-symmetrical, just not easy to build. But one of the features it had was the ability for you to be AFK. So you could use a silk touch pick, you could collect ice at a singular point, and it would measure the amount of ice you were collecting, and it would look at an input that you had done before you started making ice. So what would happen is you could use an item frame and measure 8 different settings on the item frame, and those different settings would say how many pieces of ice you wanted to collect before the machine would shut itself off. And so, if we put, I think it's F3H, see how you can see durability of 931. Somebody got a photo bomb again. That looked like a new viewer. I've not seen that name before. But anyway, it would basically have 2 forms of input. It would have an input from an item frame for you to select a quantity of ice. Then it would have an input from a double chest counting the amount of ice inside it. And when both of those numbers matched, the machine would shut itself down. Let's go ahead and sleep, because I don't know if I've got it where phantoms are going to start showing up yet or not. So between those 2 things, the machine would realize you had reached your limit, your certain number, and it would shut itself off. But it was huge. It was a humongous redstone contraption. It used pistons to make gates and stuff. If I can find the file for that thing, it's going to be an older version of Minecraft, but if I can find the file, then you should see me fading to screen right now, just so you can kind of see this monstrosity and what it looks like. It's insanity. But yeah, I knew that I would never be able to get that to fit inside this machine because originally this area for collecting ice was going to be way up above the machine. And then I realized we could put it down here inside the machine. As long as we're not blocking the ice from being made, we'll be fine. So we could put this all down in here, and you don't have to climb up as high, and I don't have to worry about redstone and stuff blocking ice being made. So what we've got going on here, let me see if I can jump up here on top of this machine. I'm going to show you what's going on. Up the ladder we go. Now eventually I'm going to have to create a better system just for maintenance purposes if I ever need to come up here and look at this. But what happens is we have the redstone pulse that makes its way up here to push these pistons forward. And once it reaches here, it extends to this spot. Now, from that spot, we have a piston. It's actually behind this block. It's right in there. And it will push down. Let's see if we can... Ooh, boy, I hate parkour, but somehow we managed that. So see, there's a piston right there. And these two are timed in such a way that this system... or this side goes off first, so the signal will push a block down, and there'll be an empty spot. And about a tick or two later, this side will work and push a block in the empty spot, and then that repeater will force this down as well. Now, once that signal has come through here, it's going to make its way down this little path to right here. And what will happen is the power is going to take this ice stream. First, it's going to push it forward. Then ice is going to get pushed to the side. And then the piston right here pushes it forward and goes this way. And the reason why we've got this little bend is because from this point to the central point is more than 12 blocks. So we had to kind of get it forward a little bit and then push it forward and go over here. Now, the other cool thing is that we have eight of these modules. I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And each 2 modules make 1 stream. So, like I said, time and then time. And so that way we're like doubling the speed of a stream coming in. Now, it used to be that I used to take all 4 of these streams and push it through the back of the machine, but everything ran a little bit slower because you've got to keep condensing each of these streams. So then I came up with the idea, why don't we have a stream coming in at each side? So we have 4 separate streams coming in from the side, and then when we're up here inside the machine, we're facing all 4 streams. So we're going to see a little bit of frame drop. Let's see what we're at right now. We're at 60 FPS. Let's turn this on, and we're just going to stand still and see what happens. Woo! I saw it drop down to 17, 20. So it's about a third the FPS we would normally get. But when you're AFK, that doesn't matter. This gets a little jittery trying to get up here. But see, we can just stand here. The ice gets pushed right to this point. We break the ice, and it gets collected in the hoppers. It was where the hoppers weren't there at first, and the ice would bounce towards me, and so that wouldn't get counted as a piece of ice, and that would break the machine later on, needing to have that safety feature to keep from losing your pickaxe, and the ice gets collected in there. So in that little bit amount of time, because that was empty, in that little bit amount of time, we've already managed to get a stack of ice, which is awesome. But anyway, so now what I've got to do is I have to build all the circuitry that's going to go down in here that's going to measure what's in this chest. It's going to measure that against a setting that the user sets as a failsafe, and then kind of tidy up everything a little bit so it looks a little bit nicer, it's a little more contained, and that we'll be going from the portal to the user area. So basically, we won't be able to see this machine anymore. All this machine will go away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to building this, but I've already built it. I built it in a creative world to see how it works and to make sure that it fits and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do is, in this world, I'm going to start building it. But what you're going to do is you're going to watch me go to that creative world. We're going to go over there real quick so that I can explain how the circuitry works on this so that it makes sense, and then we'll come back and we'll see everything in its finished glory and its final form so that we can see the whole machine working. So you guys, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere at all. Just sit tight because we're going to go check out a creative build real quick. So I'm going to get to work in here and at the same time somehow be over in a creative world explaining to you what in the world is going on with all this crazy redstone circuitry. All right, everybody. Here we are in a frozen wasteland, flying above the air in creative mode nonetheless. So I picked this seed so that I would have an area where water would naturally freeze so that we could work on different contraptions and stuff and actually see if the machine was going to work. Here is the regular pools that I've got freezing in an area. I was going to do a test trying to figure something out. It didn't quite work out, and that's why you see that I just completely stopped at that point. But here's where we've got some different circuitry going on. We'll explore these two in just a minute, but I'm going to explain what we've got going on right here. So right here we have a system where I can measure. Let's go and get rid of this because we don't need that there. We can see what's going on back here. But we have got an item and an item frame, and you can right click it and watch as this comparator pulls a signal, and we can see it count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can have 8 different signals going. Now the first trick is that we want it where only one signal is on at a time. Right now this will be all 8 signals on, and we only want one of these to light up corresponding with that. So here's where we got some circuitry genius going on. I got this from Mr. Epsiode. This is a circuit he made a long time ago. But basically what we've got here is we have the same comparator pulling a signal from an item frame and sending a signal this way. At the same time, we have a comparator right here with a torch in subtract mode. So this is full strength 15, and then we're subtracting an amount from here, and it's sending out a signal this way. So in other words, we're going to power our redstone from the left and the right side. Oh, that would happen, wouldn't it? Let's clear out the weather. And let's go ahead and make sure the time is set to day as well, just in case. So what ends up happening is at any given point, when you turn the dial, we'll put it to 1, we can see that only one torch is lit. All the rest of these torches are off. If we go to 3, 1, 2, 3, the third torch is lit. So that's the first thing that we need to do. Now the second thing is this circuit right here. Now what's really crazy is I knew that I needed to make a more compact circuit, but I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do it. And literally this is what happened, and this happens to me a lot when it comes to redstone when I'm trying to figure something out. I wake up in the morning and I'm laying in bed for about 5 minutes, just kind of letting my brain boot up and start waking up and start thinking, and an idea will literally pop into my head while I'm waking up. I swear that my subconscious is like working on these problems while I'm asleep, and when I wake up, the idea presents itself. Now, I'm not saying I created this circuit at all. No, sir, no, sir. And I'll show you, this is the way I've normally seen this circuit done. And let's get some redstone dust right there. So basically what you have is you have 2 inputs coming to a system and 1 output. And right now the output is off. Now, if I was to get rid of that torch, notice it's still off. We have to get rid of both torches for it to be on. Now, I know that probably Dogminer or somebody else that watches this channel quite a bit, they're going to know the name of this. I want to say it's like a RS NOR latch or an XOR or something like that. I can't remember. It's actually a real circuit in real life from electronics where you have 2 ons, and when 2 ons are coming through, it shuts off a signal. Now I've got this reversed because we've got 2 ons shutting this off. These off allow this to be on because that's the kind of circuit we're going to need. See, I need to have a circuit that is going to take an input from this. See how that's turned on? So we need an on. And then I need a signal being pulled from a double chest from a comparator. That signal's turned on. So what I needed to do was to invert or to make opposite of circuitry. So let's get rid of these real quick. This is our normal circuit. 2 ons make an off. I need 2 ons to make an on. So 2 ons make an on. If we shut one of these off, that shuts off. See how that works? So that's the basis behind the circuitry and why this is going to work. Now I'm going to show you this because this is a more laid out version, just me trying to work out the circuitry, and then this one up here is more compacted that we're actually going to use in our build. So what I've got here is we have got a comparator pulling a signal from the double chest and sending out a signal. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different signals that can come from that it's messing with my torch, that can come from that double chest. But here's the thing, there's only 8 positions on this item frame. Now what I wanted to do was I wanted to use 7 positions as a check and 1 position as off. So position 8 shuts off the failsafe. Maybe you're not concerned about having the machine shut off, so you completely shut it off, and if you notice, none of these torches have been turned on because it's this position right here. That keeps the failsafe. So that's why that's that way. So what I needed to do was to make a system that's going to let me take 7 different signals and 7 different positions from here. And 7 being an odd number, we could go every other. So what I did is I went to the most extreme, which would be a completely full system. And then I just counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 back from that. I figured if you're going AFK, you're probably not going to need the chest to be this close to empty, so it's not that big of a deal. So what we've got is we've got our input coming from the double chest, sending a signal to these torches right here. Now I'm using repeaters because 1, I need to direct the power into a block to shut off the torch. See, I'll take this power away, and we can see that torch turned on. I'll put the power back, the torch turns off. Now, the other reason why I've got a repeater right here is because if, let's see, I'd have to mess with, okay, so if the signal has made its way to right here, that's when we want to shut the machine off. But if the signal's right here, like see how this, weather, cleared out. See how the power stops right here? Well, that means we would not be able to get the power to go to this block, so that's why I've got a repeater here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, once we get up there, I've actually been able to remove that feature from this in compacting it, but I'm explaining why this circuitry is working the way it is. So right here, we've got power off, which means that redstone dust should be shut off, but that's only 50% of the measurement. The other measurement is we need to pick the next to last, so 8, 7, 6. The 6th position is the one that matches up with that fullness. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll come over here and we can see that the 6th torch is on, which is going to send a signal over here. Both of these are shut off, which allows that torch to turn on, which is going to send a signal to our comparator clock we've got over on one side to shut it off. That will shut off ice being pushed forward. That will shut off the machine. There will be no more ice in the compartment for your pickaxe to break. And so your character will just stand here with air and a safe pickaxe. So that's how that circuits work. How those circuits work. So here's what we're going to build. Here's what I'm going to try and do. I've got everything a little bit more compact. So we're reading from our double chest right here and sending a signal forward. Figured we could just get rid of the repeaters and just have redstone dust shut off a torch. So here is our double input check right here. The other side of the double input check is going to come from here, which is basically taking torches that are right next to each other, and that's why we have them on opposites. I had to come up with a way that's going to take the signal and allow me to separate it with a space, because once we make it over here, these are all spaced apart, so that's why this circuitry is a little bit bigger. Now, I know there's probably a way to compact this a little bit more, make it a little bit more manageable, but I'm fine with this. This is okay. This works and does what I want it to. So now that you understand how this circuitry works, you understand the theory behind it, let's go back over to the actual server on Decidedly Vanilla and check out this thing in action. Alright everybody, waiting for these things to freeze up so I can collect them. What I really like about this setup is we have 4 of these pawns that freeze, and we have a machine that freezes. So once we kind of purge out the machine, we can run over here and break up these not islands, but like little pools of ice that basically get made. So it's like you can bounce back and forth while you're purging one. This one's freezing. And then when you run over here and purge this one, that one's freezing. So that's also an option or way to run it. So I've got this little area started off. I haven't really finished it yet. I'm going to have to taper this to this point, which looks like 1, 2, 3. Oh, that worked out. I didn't even plan that. But I got all my junk sitting over here, so I need to collect it. But here we go. We're going to run up into here. We've got our little room with a control panel. Now, I still have to do the math where I got to figure out for each setting how many pieces of ice are in a double chest to set this off. And then we'll put signs here, and then we'll actually have that finished. But we climb up here. We got our little lever, and we got stuff in here. So notice this is all clear. We flip the lever. Nothing happens. Why does nothing happen, Piggy? Because of this. Because look what we've got. Our failsafe is set to 1, which is the lowest setting, which apparently is less than what's up in there. So let's do this. Let's crank this up pretty high. Oh, we can hear the noise. We can see the frame rate drop. And since there's still plenty of room to go in here, start breaking ice again. So I'll show you this. I'm going to back up. We're going to flip this lever. Everything settles down. We break the ice. The machine has turned off. So not only do we have like an on-off switch to turn the machine completely on and off, we also have our fail-safe mechanism to make sure that you never, ever break a pick. And for some reason here, I can't see. Didn't I have it where I could see the damage? What is it? F3H. Maybe that's not right. F3D? No, that clears chat. Tooltips. There we go. There we go. I don't know why that disappeared, but that's set up. So in between episodes, what I'm going to have to do is fill up that chest full of ice, figure out what the number is, and work my way backwards until I can figure out what each setting is going to be so that our failsafe will be a failsafe for sure. I'm going to do that between... This is crazy. So apparently somewhere underneath here... What is that? I bet that's a skeleton. Oh no, that's a witch. You can see her hat sticking out. That's so weird. Yeah, I got to go underneath and light up underneath so we don't hear mobs. And so when I set up beds in areas, we'll be able to sleep out here if we need to as well. So that's what I'm going to do between episodes, is a little bit more lighting up underneath, a little bit more cleanup with the redstone and make it all ready. And then I think in next episode what we're going to do is we're going to work on this central room and maybe on this ice facade to call this project finalized. And hopefully also between episodes I can collect more ice and get the ice roads done back at Dima. And then that way we can actually start building Dima. Like I need to finish those walls. There's so many projects I got to finish. So many projects I got to finish. I figured it'd be nice to stop and actually do one like this. A nice little redstone farm. Something fun to use. Something everybody, if they come back to the server, people, there's an ice farm. I bet the server you're on doesn't have an ice farm. Oh, yeah, that's how Piggy draws them back in, with a ridiculously crazy, over-the-top redstone, right? But if you enjoyed this episode, please click that like button if you want to see more of these as I release them. Don't forget to subscribe, and also if you want YouTube to notify you when I put out videos, click the notification bell. I'm going to do all those little off-camera bits to get myself ready for next episode, and that's when I hope to see you is in the next episode of Decidedly Vanilla.